You're listening to the Balanced Educator Podcast, episode number 46.
Welcome to the Balanced Educator. We're your hosts, Kaylee
and Josiane from Educalm. Our intention is to equip and empower you to feel more calm, balanced, and joyful in all aspects of your life. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Balanced Educator Podcast. Thank you to all who have been listening for a while, who are back, and welcome to new listeners. We are so happy you're here. We invite you to subscribe to the show so that you can hear us every Monday when our episodes come out. Also, we want to thank everyone who has been leaving reviews. You have no idea how much it means to us when you take 30 seconds to leave a review in iTunes. There is really nothing better. Not only do we take the time to read these reviews and listen to your feedback, but also you're really helping us to reach our goals of growing our audience. Because when you leave reviews, we get noticed more in iTunes. So please keep them coming. Keep the reviews coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, this week we are interviewing Carolina Smith, and Carolina has been on the podcast before in episode 28, How to Juggle It All with Carolina Smith. And we had such an awesome conversation with her, and we are so happy she's back. Carolina is a grade 1 French immersion teacher in Calgary, Alberta. After hitting full burnout in university, she decided to take off to South America to travel and to pursue her yoga teacher training. This experience launched her on a path of teaching yoga, practicing mindfulness, and continuously developing her personal self-care toolkit to juggle all the roles of being a teacher. Now, if you remember from last episode, Carolina gave so many ideas to implement in the classroom that I use to this day, that Kaylee uses to this day. Since then, Carolina has become an Educalm Teacher alumni and an Educalm Classroom ambassador. So we've been getting to know Carolina really, really well. As a matter of fact, we even, both Kaylee and I had the chance to meet Carolina in person, which is super fun when you're kind of social media friends and you actually get to meet in person. So yeah, really excited to have her on again. So actually today, it's Kaylee interviewing Carolina, and they talk about all kinds of things, including Carolina's new business venture, what her self-care practice looks like. She talks about how affirmations have become an integral part of her day and some of the challenges she had. And one part I love about this interview is that Kaylee and Carolina talk about their perspective on sick days. And I just thought it was really, really interesting to hear what they had to say about it. So before we dive in, we just want to let you know that last Saturday, which was 2 days ago, we had our free online workshop to learn how to ditch the feeling of overwhelm and to feel calmer and more balanced with a really powerful strategy that we share with you that we talked about in some of the previous episodes called the Mindful 3. This is a strategy that has 100% transformed Kaylee and I's lives, and our Educalm Teacher alumni are also saying the same thing. It is awesome. So if you missed out on the online workshop that we had on Saturday, we actually have another one coming up this Thursday on December 13th at 8 p.m. Central Time. And what you'll learn in this free workshop is what really causes overwhelm, how overwhelm works biologically in your brain and body, and, like I said, our powerful strategy for feeling calmer and more balanced, even in the most stressful times of the year. And if you've been listening to our podcast for a while, you know that Kaylee is like a pro at explaining anything about science. And once I really understood the mind-body connection, how our body works, the biology behind it all, it really helped me to help myself to have the power to know how to get out of overwhelm and stress and anxiety. So Kaylee will be leading this workshop, and I guarantee you are going to leave with all kinds of new, interesting knowledge that will be so useful for your day-to-day. So this is your last chance to sign up. And you can do so by going to www.educalm.com/free workshop. And Educalm is spelled EDUCALME. As some of you might already know, we just opened up registration for our Educalm Teacher course, which we taught in August, and we're really excited to teach it again in January. And it's like perfect timing because January is really when we want to get those New Year's resolutions in and really start our year on the right foot. Therefore, if you want to gain the tools and to develop habits to prevent overwhelm and burnout, to gain a better work-life balance, and to feel more joy in and out of the classroom, this course is for you. So Educalm Teacher is a 1-month course. It starts on January 14th, 2019, and it ends on February 7th. It will be taught live online on Mondays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time, but all sessions will be recorded and you will have a lifetime access to the recorded lessons and coaching calls in case you can't participate live or if you want to rewatch the content later. Now, the beautiful thing about this course is that it builds community, a community of like-minded educators, and we are still in contact with all of our Educalm Teacher alumni from August. It is so great. So in this 4-week Educalm Teacher course, you will have Monday lessons and then Thursday coaching calls. So what's cool is that you can bring your own questions to the table, your own ideas to the table, and then it becomes a discussion, but it's all online, so you can do it with your pajamas on in your bed if you want. It will also come with, you'll get 4 guided mindfulness practices. You'll get bonus morning and bedtime guided mindfulness audios. You'll have access to a private Educalm Facebook group. And then each month we do Facebook Live meetings where we have discussions. And again, we answer all of your questions. So it's like a continued development. You will have access to our Introduction to Mindfulness course for you and for your students for free. So if this is something that you do for yourself, for your own personal development, and you want to bring this into the classroom, then you'll have the tools to do that. Another awesome thing is that you will then have 20% off all of our Educalm online products, and you will have a lifetime access to the Educalm Teacher curriculum and all future rounds of live Educalm Teacher courses. So to all of our Educalm Teacher alumni from August, you are welcome back to the course, and we can't wait to see you all. So if this is something that you kind of just want to explore, you want more information, or if you're ready to register right away, you can go to www.educalm.com/teacher. I'll also put all of the links that I mentioned in the show notes. So I feel like I've been talking for a long time, and you guys are in for a longer episode today because Kaylee was having such a good interview with Carolina that she kind of forgot about the time. So we decided to not edit any parts out because we felt like there was so much value in what Carolina had to share. So we hope you'll enjoy this longer episode.
Hey there, Carolina. Welcome back to the Balanced Educator Podcast. We are so excited to have you back here.
Thank you for having me a second time, and I get to chat with you this time.
I feel like the first time that you did this podcast, it was with Josiane, so I was super jealous that she got to chat with you. So now it's my turn. And so nice. You shared so many awesome takeaways on that episode of things that I'm actually using in my classroom. So I'm so excited to have this conversation with you again. I think our audience is really going to benefit from it. So Carolina, could you introduce yourself and let everyone know a little bit about you?
Sure. So I'm a grade 1 French immersion teacher in the Calgary area here in Alberta. And a little bit about myself would be that I actually grew up in Winnipeg for the first 7 years. Then went to Saskatoon and then Regina. I went to the U of R and studied education, first in English, and then it was like a second year switch into French. Finished I guess it was a 6.5 year like zigzag through post-secondary. That took me to Quebec a few times and back. And then I am now working in Calgary. So I'm just like inching my way further west, it seems.
So Carolina, you are using Educalm Classroom in your classroom. You are one of our ambassadors, and you are also an Educalm Teacher alumni. So I feel like we're going to have a lot to chat about today on the episode. But first, I would love to know, you have this amazing project, the Leah Project, that you share. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how it came to be?
Sure. So the leahproject.ca is this little side project that really came from a place of needing to share. And it kind of came together in about my second year teaching. So I'm currently in my third year teaching here in Calgary. So my second year was a year where I was able to at least start to incorporate more balance in my life, as loose as you want to use that word. That's kind of what it was looking like. But I was seeing so many other, specifically women, such as colleagues, cousins, like friends, talk about how they were trying to find this balance and they didn't even know where to look for tools besides kind of the gym or yoga, which are great tools also, but they didn't know what else to do. So I would love to talk about the topic with them. And then it turned into me wanting to start a bit more of a community with it. I also have a lot of community back in Regina, Saskatchewan, where that's where I taught yoga. So when I was doing my university degree, I taught yoga for majority of my second degree. And I still had a lot of people out there that I wanted to reach through. So the beauty of technology and social media is that I could. And so I wanted to create a bit of a hub of where we could start sharing some ideas of self-care. And the other gap in the self-care industry that I was seeing online as I was researching things myself, going through Pinterest and whatnot, was there were so many lists and ideas of how self-care could be incorporated, but there wasn't really like the actual how-to and the kind of keeping in this idea of like community and doing it together. It was kind of like do your bubble bath and then feel better the next day. And I was like, well, that didn't work for me. Like I tried it, but I didn't realize it needed like consistency. I needed routine. I needed girls and other women that I could share my practice with. And then I needed to also surround myself, even on social media, with other like-minded people. So I'm creating this growing platform of women who are all along the same lines as myself. And a lot of us work the quote unquote 9 to 5, but I always like to call it like the 7 to 7 for a teacher.
Yeah.
But, and we want to find deeper ways of connecting with ourselves and figuring out how to do that when you're juggling a career, when you're juggling maybe a growing family, when you're juggling friendships and fun things to do in the city and all of that. So that's where that kind of came from. And a big part of that was because, again, I had moved to Calgary, which was away from my friends and my family. And building community out here was really different. It's a bigger city. I launched into my career right away. I moved out with a boyfriend for the first time. Like, it was a lot of firsts. So self-care really took on a different aspect because I was really kind of growing it again from rock bottom and trying to build it up again. So that's where the Leah Project is. And currently it is a community blog where I've got writers all over Canada, just women that I've connected with mostly through social media or friends of friends that I've connected with that are doing really cool things in their own lives and not necessarily running like these empires of businesses, but are just like, they're going to walk their talk and they're doing their best. And that's all that anyone can ask. So that's where the community blog is the first part of the Leah Project. And then phase 2 will hopefully come out. And I say hopefully, even though I'm the one behind the scenes, but will come out, let's say January is kind of what I'm aiming for when it comes to more, a little bit more strategizing and how to. So I'm envisioning things like online meditation challenges, online meditation classes, obviously meditation, which I'll speak to later on, is a huge part of my personal self-care practice. And yeah, so there's exciting things coming. So that's definitely what lights me up.
That is awesome. I love that you're creating this community aspect around it and taking it from just like, here's a list of what you can do to here's exactly how to do it. Because I feel like sometimes we have such an information overload and so many options, but it can be a struggle to actually make it a reality and actually integrate it into your own life. It's like, yeah, I'd like to do that, but how do I actually make it happen? So I'd love to know, what does your self-care practice look like? What does that mean for you? And you talked about making it routine and habit. So what's that like in your life?
Okay, so I would say right now looks so different than basically any other month. As a teacher, we just go through like this massive 10-month cycle. And so I would say it changes, I'd say every month, just according to what I need. But for the most part, I've got like my baseline of necessities, non-negotiables, that kind of thing. So what it looks like right now is having a morning routine, which comes straight out of the Educalm Teacher program, your routine concept. I loved it. So back last year, pre-Educalm Teacher program, I really struggled with my mornings because I felt, as having done the yoga teacher training myself and knowing the benefits of meditation, I should be up in the morning, hour at dawn, like doing my whole routine, like sun salutations, the whole works, and then just like smooth into my day. And so I had a lot of shoulds and a lot of what I should be doing and all this like judgy self-talk. And so I really tried in the spring to start a routine, but it was working for a while, but I knew there could be added more. So when I did the Educalm Teacher program actually in the summer, that really just solidified the self-care. And what that looks like right now is in the morning I wake up, and I won't say it's anywhere near consistent. It honestly does depend on what I need in that morning. But my alarm goes off at 6, and at 6 a.m. in the morning, I decide, what do I need? Do I need another hour of sleep? Because I can do that. Do I need a full yoga flow? Like, am I ready to get up? Do I need to sit for majority of my morning? And I don't give myself quite an hour, which I know is a practice you do, but I started with 10 minutes. So in September, I woke up and I asked myself, what do I need for 10 minutes? Just me. Like, boyfriend not allowed to be part of that, or cooking, or like extra breakfast in the morning. Like, what do I actually need? And without making too many rules around it, I had my little mental list of what all the things I'd like to do. So was that like read, journal, meditate? Do I need to sit on my couch and just like take a look outside, like what do I need for 10 minutes, just so I know I'm filling up my own cup first in the smallest way. And honestly, if I can't give myself 10 minutes, like why should I give anyone else 10 minutes? Really? Like, so that's kind of where that comes from for my morning routine. And then it has grown since then. So September, I started a new, I would say, morning routine because it's a new school year. And you and I were just talking previously of how every September it's like, all right, what's it going to be this year? Because it's not going to be anything that I've seen in the past in terms of just what my life's going to look like as a teacher, depending on my group, depending on my colleagues, depending on projects and interests and personal development, professional development. So this year, it's very much grown into now, I've got about a 20-minute little routine going of yoga, meditation. And something that I really took away from the Educalm Teacher was creating the habits. And so what my habits were going to be. And I remember we talked a lot about affirmations, and I thought, yes, like I'm so pro affirmation, but suddenly I started to create too many steps in my morning. And then I was like, oh, well, then I have to do yoga and then affirmations and then meditation and then journaling. I can't forget my gratitudes. And so what was nice about doing it in the summer for myself was that I could figure out my top 3 habits that I was going to try. And then I just experimented with them. And now coming into November, like I'm actually looking back at some of those habits and saying, okay, I think I'm ready to add in a few more because now I've got a flow with my daily life, let's say.
Yeah.
So self-care is always changing.
So it starts first thing in the morning. It starts with you just asking yourself, what is it that I need right now? And just giving yourself a solid, 10 minutes. I think in the beginning, when we're starting a self-care practice, we have this idea that it has to be a full day thing, or it has to be 2 hours, or, Kaylee has a 1 or 2 hour morning practice. That's what I need. Like, no, that is not how I started. I literally started with 10 breaths or like right after brushing my teeth, and started really small. And I like how you're saying you're building on it gradually. And we talk a lot about that in the Educalm Teacher course, because that's our brain. That's how we build habits. It has to start really small. And I like to say that if you choose that you want to start a new habit and your brain's like, I don't have time for that, or, oh, that's too hard, or, oh, like whatever it is that your brain is going against this new habit you want to make, that means that you need to step back a little bit and make it smaller until you get to the point that your brain's like, oh yeah, I can do that. Like I can do 10 minutes. And then once 10 minutes is part of the routine, then you grow that if it feels right. And as you said, as a teacher, every month is different and it really fluctuates. Like I know that these past couple weeks, my morning routine has looked a lot more like pressing snooze for 30 minutes and then waking up and being like, oh, that was nice to like feel, because I give myself 2 hours in the morning. So it's like, oh, it was nice to have the luxury of pressing snooze for 30 minutes today. And then, yeah, my meditation practice is a little bit shorter, but that's what I needed this morning. And I'm honoring that. So
something that I noticed too is that when I am able to, let's say, hit snooze for a bit, and then I go to sit, because meditation and movement are my staples for my morning. Like I do not leave until that happens, just because I now know myself better enough through, years of practice that's what I need. My meditation and that movement period, even if it is shorter because of the snooze, becomes so much more effective, and I'm just like in it. And that is like such a great balance in itself. Like it starts to work without even trying, when you really start to pay attention to what your needs are and being honest with them. And again, like trying to filter this external, like, oh, you should do this for your morning routine. It should be this long, or it should be that, or actually scrap the morning, it's the evening now. Like it's truly like asking yourself and being able to honor what that is, and being brave enough to like maybe tell your partner, like, sorry, can't talk. I need to do this now. Or sorry, friends, like I need this right now, or whatever it is. And just creating that space of just a self-giving environment for me, it's the mornings. Like I said, I also have multiple other self-care practices that sprinkled throughout the day as well.
I'd love to know, what do you do during the school day as a self-care practice?
Yeah. So once my morning is set up, my school day looks like, well, in the morning on the way to school, if I'm not carpooling with a colleague, which is really fun too, because we can chat all the way, then it's a podcast. And of course, your podcast is like one of the best ones to get myself ready going to school. I love that because I'm just already in a positive mindset, being like, yes, there are other amazing educators in this country doing the same thing. We're like all driving to school right now, and like, we can do this.
We're a community. We got this. We're changing the world.
Totally. So there's that. So what I put in my ears and is I'm trying to really filter in the sense of like what I'm surrounding myself with. So that would be one that I can control. Some are obviously controllable, some not so much. Then the next one would be, in the morning, I take my recesses for myself. And sometimes it's not always how I'd like it to be, in the sense that, sitting down and breathing. Sometimes it's like, you know what, I really need to tidy my desk. Like, this is outrageous. I can't see what color of wood is on it right now. And like, fun fact of teachers, like, I can never see my desk. I'll speak for myself. But then that's what I need. Like, that is an action of self-care because I'm taking care of myself. I feel disorganized. I need to feel organized. This is a me feeling. My students probably could care less. I know, like, even if my administrators were to walk in, they would never judge that because they were once teachers too. But it's for myself. So that's kind of where, like, self-care is no longer just me sitting and inhaling my beautiful essential oils, which I do love as well. But sometimes it just needs to be like tidying my desk or closing my door and like listening to some quick music. Or a recent one has been, a colleague will come down, like one of my good friends who's a colleague, she'll come down to my class and we have a quick chit chat, like for the morning recess, because that's when we're just, just need to talk, like just chat about anything, but having that like positive interaction.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been like a way to sprinkle it in. Another one is been using Educalm Teacher program, Educalm class program. But with the classroom version, my switch is on teacher mode. So as much as I can take those deep breaths, I'm still got my eyeballs everywhere. And maybe I'll model with my eyes closed, but I'm in that awareness of, as a teacher, like I'm in control of the situation. So that is also a very good reminder, though. Often when I'm sitting there, even as I watch my students and I'm taking a look at what's going on, it's a reminder of why I'm here. And that's kind of my quiet moment where I can be like, someone else's audio is guiding. Like, you guys have their beautiful guided setup. The students are engaged with it. And then I can just sit back for a moment and be like, this is why I'm here. Like, I'm here for these students. I'm here to support them. I'm here to show them that they need to take care of themselves too. And then it just reminds me why I need to walk the talk, and then why I want to walk the talk for other women in the community. So that's another great self-care practice that I've been really enjoying. And I would say I've only tapped into maybe in October. September was pretty rough. So I'd say October is when I was able to like be conscious of that moment, because it's already ingrained in our everyday. We do it every day after the second recess. So then I thought I want to make this even a little bit more intentional for myself. So just being able to sit there and model that. And again, not every day is perfect by any means, nor is there really a perfect aim to. I try to remind myself of that. And then the last thing that I'll say about self-care for my personal practice is, okay, scrap that. Not the last thing, but another thing I want to add about my personal self-care practice is the transitioning from school to home. And I talked about it the first time on the podcast, and I even want to say it again because it has made such a difference of when I come home and be able to just shake off all that energy from throughout the day and then come home and play my different role, like Madame Smith after hours, essentially, right? Like, I no longer carry the Madame Smith with me. I am now Carolina and have my own little life and my other interests and whatever else keeps me going. So
I really appreciate that you shared that transition moment, like doing something between work and coming home. And I took that away for my own practice, because right now, as I'm in the classroom, I come home and most days, I transition into working on Educalm and, creation and doing this. So that could feel very overwhelming, but giving myself just this wind down, release the energy of the day and move into a new space, kind of in my mind and in my feelings has been so helpful. And sometimes that can be like just driving home. I have a 30-minute drive, driving home in complete silence, or it could mean like listening to some uplifting music, or it could be listening to a podcast or whatever it is. Sometimes maybe I'll take my dog for a walk, or sometimes I don't have the time, but it's the intention behind it. And it's kind of like you said with your morning practice, even if it's not a long practice, it's like you soak up every second of the moments that you do choose and do create. So, it could be just coming into my office and lighting a candle and putting some essential oils into my diffuser to just kind of shift how I'm feeling, make it a little bit more fun and enjoyable. So thank you for sharing that, because that's been super helpful for me.
Yay, I'm so glad.
So is there anything else that you wanted to share about your practices, or that was the last thing?
Something that I would love to share is when I was building my habits in the summer for this upcoming year, I really wanted, again, to build affirmations into that. And I've used them in the past, but I wanted to find kind of a different way. And I know we had talked about putting them on Post-it notes and around the classroom, around the day, but I still felt that wasn't like working for me, or it wasn't quite an authentic way of doing it. So I thought, okay, what if I just build them into my personal practice in the mornings? And so when I meditate, my meditation style is very much mindfulness meditation. So I'll sit and I'll kind of see what comes up. So I wanted to leave that as it is. And then, so what I decided to do is I've created a morning movement routine. And I say movement, not necessarily yoga, because there are yoga aspects of it too, but it's a lot of just creative movement and a little bit intuitive in the sense I want to move according to how my body feels like it needs to, because every day is going to be so different, right? Mm-hmm. And as I'm doing specific movements that I make sure I do every morning, just to kind of hit the bigger movements, and those would be the bigger yoga poses, I say specific affirmations to myself. And each one kind of represents a different part. So I wake up, this is an example, like I would be standing and just take my right leg, bring it out in a 90-degree angle in front of me, and do a quick side twist. And that's the affirmation I say with that is that I love and trust my body. And then I do another stretch, and then I will repeat, like, I love and trust my mind, my thoughts, my ideas. And then I just continuously move into this space of I'm building myself up in terms of confidence, because maybe that morning I didn't quite feel like that, or that morning I woke up and I feel like I could take on the world. But regardless, I've got this kind of neutral set of script, I would say, that I just continuously recite to myself as I move through these movements. And that's been so helpful to set me up, because during the day, for example, when I'm sitting in that and my kids are doing Educalm, I can remind myself of what those affirmations are as well, and be like, right, I'm here. This is the part I'm living. Like, I set my morning up so I can actually do the work every day. So that's been really helpful to me. So I'd love to share that. And if anyone else can take something away, it would be to just like integrate and just do what feels good and feels right, and know that like we are constantly evolving. And that our practice can evolve with us. So like just take what you can and like change what you want. And there are no rules.
I love that. So you gave so many awesome ideas, and I just want our listener to remind themselves that, okay, don't go and try to take Carolina's practice and do all the things that she's doing, because that can feel overwhelming. But maybe one of the things that she just shared is going to be like, oh, that sounds like fun. And when you get that reaction, like, ooh, that sounds like fun. Ooh, I'd like to do that. Not, oh, I should do something like that. But that curiosity, that excitement, then that's a good indication that that might be a good practice for you to integrate into your self-care practice. So thank you for sharing so many great ideas. And I love how you created this intention with movement. That is so cool. I think I'm going to try that. So let's talk a little bit more about teacher life specifically.
Mm-hmm.
How has your year been going so far?
So this year just as I was mentioning before, where every year is different, this one has been quite challenging. And of course, new challenges, new styles of needs in my classes, a few new colleagues to work with, new classroom, actually, same school, new classroom. So working with physical space as well. And so there's a lot of newness that happened at the beginning of the school year, which is really exciting, but it called for a lot of uncertainty. And I believe myself, amongst many others, uncertainty can be scary.
Yep.
So I was really nervous about how the school year was going to go. And the beginning was really rough. Like September into October, I was dealing with things that I didn't even realize that was a part of my job as a teacher. And just because we play so many hats. And then, by the end of September, I was wearing too many hats at once. Mm-hmm. So moving into October, I was able to do a little bit more reflecting, and I started to take on a bit more of a leadership role, just in the sense of being able to draw some boundaries with myself. And what that means for me, or what that meant in October, was being able to say, no thanks, and not now. And like, thanks, I'll look into it later. Or I don't believe this is going to work, and here's why. And I started to because before, I'll just back it up for a sec. My first 2 years of teaching, first year, of course, I was like the yes person. I just said yes, everything was new. Yeah. It was going to be overwhelming. I just took it as it came. Second year, I was able to set a few new boundaries and really dove into what self-care looked like. But now this third year, I'm even taking a bit more of a stance. And I don't think for the negative, but I think in just terms to self-protect myself in terms of energy, like the amount of energy that I'm giving, and also redefining what my role is as a classroom teacher at this point. Like, what are my priorities actually? Like, who am I serving? What is my role as a colleague? What is my role as a mentor? What is my role as a role model for these kids? So just trying to I really had to do a lot of reflection and perspective taking. And I really dove back into that module. I think it was module 3 from Educalm Teacher, about how our thoughts create our emotions, because September was a feeling I did not like. So I thought, okay, something needs to change. Yeah. I don't exactly know what. So then I started to test things out, right? And started to try and move from a place from being just intuitive of like, you know what? This isn't going to jive with me at this very moment. Cool idea. Not right now. Thanks. And being okay with saying no, because the year previous, I said no to a lot because I was just like completely overwhelmed. And I was like, sorry, can't do it. But then that guilt factor would happen. This time it's like, no guilt.
That is amazing. How did you get over that guilt? Because I think that's something that a lot of us teachers struggle with. It's like you want to be all the things and you want to do all the things. And that's amazing that you're learning to say no. And tell me, how did you get over that guilt?
So I won't say that it's not there anymore. There's definitely that guilt of the teacher. And I think that stems from, for myself, it stems from knowing that I've got 22 little lives in front of me. I work for them. They are the reason that I'm there. And they're not just my reason for being employed. They're like the future of the world that I'm teaching, and I need to show up to, and I've got my roles. Like, this is why I'm a teacher. So when I've got all that responsibility and in my subconscious, essentially, that's a lot to say no to those days that I have to, or say no to an opportunity that, could be great, but at the moment, like, it might not be so great. And all of that for my students. And also because I teach grade 1, they're so little, I feel like I really need to advocate for them on their behalf. Also, like, I don't think it's really great that we need to do, I'm just throwing examples out there, but like tons of decorations for the Christmas concert this year, because actually we need to catch up with these things. But that's stuff my students might not be able to vocalize, right? Yeah. Or those are beyond, it's beyond even being able to vote on it, let's say, in my class, and do like a fun little vote. Like, yeah. I just need to Like, I need to draw the line kind of thing. And so the way that I've been able to get over it is, first of all, define what the guilt is. And again, for me, it's like, oh my gosh, these kids, like, they're just little, like, we're just having so much fun. Like, they just miss their moms and dads a lot, like in September and October, right? Like,
yeah.
So first of all, realize what that guilt is. And then secondly, see how I can change my perspective on what I said no to. Like, again, it could be a no, not now, or like, no, and this is actually why I don't think this is a great choice. And being strong and confident with that. And it might come up again, like being like, oh, was that intelligent to say no to that moment? Or was that great for my career? Like, or, what will my colleagues say? There can be some of that. And then it's like when I think about it again, or kind of boil it down, it's like, and if that answer is still no, that's actually by saying no, I said yes to other things, or I said yes on behalf of my students for opportunities, then I know I've done my job. So that's been really
really helpful. Yeah, thank you. I really got goosebumps when you said that you work for the kids, that your job is to be an advocate and work for the kids. I think it's so easy for us teachers to kind of forget that, there's so many, there's so much going on in schools. Like, a school is a busy place with a lot of things that we're trying to get done. And I think when we start to feel overwhelmed, if we can cycle back and go, okay, how is this serving my students? They are the reason that I'm here. They are who I work for. In the end, I don't work for, really, you can say, I don't work for my administrators. They don't know my kids like I do. I don't work for my colleagues. They don't know my kids like I do. I don't even work for their parents because they don't see what I see as the classroom teacher. I think that's a really great perspective shift that I'm going to take into my classroom tomorrow, because there's so many shoulds and it should look like this, but every single group is different and has their own needs. And as the professional that spends the whole day with them and loves the heck out of them, we have to be an advocate for them and make decisions like saying no to certain things that might not seem like, it might not be the expected choice that maybe everyone else would have made, but to trust your gut instincts. So thank you very much for sharing that. I will be bringing that into my classroom and my mindset tomorrow.
Exactly. And I think also remembering that, like, as colleagues and teachers and administrators, we're all on the same team ultimately. I mean, every school culture is different when it comes to staff, but I know a lot of my first 2 years, I did a lot of self-judging and assuming what other people would think of me if I did or did not do things. And really easy to get into that. And I definitely still slip into that. But I think I've gotten to a point where I was hired for a reason, and I just need to trust that and ultimately trust myself. Like, I'm here for a reason. If not, they would have said no a long time ago. Yep. I haven't changed that much, I don't think. Maybe I have, who knows? But, and then being able to kind of just like play my role and be okay with the evolution of that too.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that I would like to chat about, because we've talked about this a little bit behind the scenes, and I think this is important to be shared. What are your thoughts on taking time away from the classroom as a teacher for self-care or whatever that may look like, taking a sick day or a personal day? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, great question. Okay, so 2 years ago in September, my principal told us that sick days equal mental health days. So when I heard him say that, I was like, yes, oh my God, like a huge relief off my shoulders. And then I went, oh, wait, well, I don't have a mental illness. I don't believe I do. So maybe I'm not actually entitled for that. And then so that's the first phase in my mind. And then let's say I was about end of September. So I'll make an example of this September. I thought I had a moment where it was, okay, let me just back up for a sec. Last year when I heard that, then it just made things much more clear of what that a sick day meant. And then so I was able to kind of make some boundaries around that. But then this year, I'll give you an example of when that really worked. And now what I've defined that as is usually it seems to be a Tuesday for me. But Tuesday, if I end that day, first of all, feeling physically drained and like, tickle in the throat, whether or not it's a cold or not, or the headache, like forehead on fire because my prefrontal cortex is so overwhelmed with decision making. And I know that if I come back in tomorrow, I would be less beneficial than if another professional was to walk in my door. That night, I am calling it a sick day for the next day. And because I know if I go in, it's going to benefit 0 people, especially my students. And like I just had said, like if they're going to be the priority of my job, like my career, then that's what I have to think of when it comes to that. Madame needs to get better.
Yes. Yes.
And usually it's all okay because trust me, I still to this day, when I hit that sick day button, whether I'm physically can show you that I'm ill, or if it's on a mental level of not feeling like I can do my job the next day, I still get that wave of guilt. Not to mention the rush of, oh my gosh, my lesson plans.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are they going to do tomorrow? But once that's all figured out, and of course, it's the best is to have a bank of those emergency sub plans. But once I can, click that button, make whatever email I need to make and send in that's a sick day, I do sit there and I always feel like, oh, but will they remember that so-and-so keeps their shoes on this rack because it's not this rack? And will so-and-so remember that this chair is there, it's not that? And like, will the sub recall? Like, and I start to go on that. And that it's like this mothering instinct kind of starts to come out. And then I just need to take a breath and be like, okay, this is again, what's my reason? Why am I feeling guilty? It's because I'm not going to be with my students. And I know how that routine plays out. And I know when I'm there, things run smoothly. But it's going to be okay. First of all, I have to trust my students. They're going to be fine. And like, if the sub forgets the calendar, I'm sure they will remind them.
Yeah.
And like whatever those little things are, right? And then just being okay with whatever day. And if I get back the next day, my room is slightly disastrous or work didn't get done, that's also okay. Like that's just the reality of our jobs. And c'est la vie. Like I don't know what else to say. Of course it's not easy. And then during that sick day, obviously, during that day that I need a break. Again, that's a day that I really try and commit to what do I need now? Is it sleep? Is it pumping Latin music all day?
I should do that.
Is it, booking a last minute massage? Is it, what is it? What do I need that's going to rebalance myself to feel replenished? And I really do believe that our jobs is a very yang energetic field, right? Like we deal with strategizing, decision making. We've got a lot of this fire, like energy happening in the classrooms and excitements and ups and downs and all of that. But we're the front of it, right? All that decision making happening, that logical side of us coming out. And so I need to balance that out with yin. Yin being like coolness, relaxation, quiet, like space, all of that. And that's usually what my sick day is going to look like, is a lot of yin. Yeah. Because I know more yang is just about to come. So
yeah.
Does that clarify?
Yeah, that is awesome. I hope that will just help a teacher that's going, okay, I'm starting to feel really run down. it would be so nice to not have to go to work tomorrow and just replenish, but I can't because X, Y, and Z. I know that for most of us, yeah, like you said, that guilt comes up when we, and especially I think one thing that lots and lots of teachers deal with is, okay, what's going to happen while I'm gone? Like, it's going to be a chaos in there, and what am I going to come back to, right? And, but yeah, it's one day and it's all going to be okay.
And majority of the time I come back, and of course, like, we have fantastic substitutes in our division, but it's usually totally fine and like, you know, completely fine. And not only do I trust my students, but I also trust my colleagues. Like, we step in for each other when needed. We help the person out with the projector, whatever it needs to be, right? Like, and we also have a great lineup of subs that we can call on, in terms of they've already know our kids, they've probably in our class or under school before. So I'm really, really fortunate. I understand that, yeah, that's a really big blessing that we have in my division. The other thing I was going to mention is that why I believe that sick days and personal days and those self-care, wellness, mental health, whatever you want to title it, why those days are so crucial is because as much as that we have the weekend, often being just 2 days to so-called recover, on a personal note, my weekends are for exploring, socializing, experiencing new things, spending time with my partner, making sure my condo's all cleaned up, and all of these parts to me. And I don't have time to just be stuck and have a cold for 2 days, you know, just because I wasn't capable of taking the time during the week to actually get over whatever I need to do to be stronger yet again, right? Because often what would happen, especially in that first 2 years of teaching, is just like, boom, Friday afternoon would hit, we're off at 2:30, and all the symptoms start to come in. And then I'm sick for 2 days. Then I like hustle myself to get better for Monday so I can pull another 5-day week. And we all know what it's like when kids come to school sick. It's slightly disastrous. So
yeah,
as adults, we might be able to hide it a little bit better, sure. But that doesn't mean that our quality of that day is going to be any better. So I really believe, like, take whatever day you need, and those weekends are just as valid as the weekdays in our life. Like, if you really take a look, instead of thinking of like the Monday through Friday, like, you know, if you really want to look at like this, let's say even the 10 months of this teaching school year, like, check out where your highs and lows are on a physical level, like your health level. Notice where they are, and then book all your appointments that you need for the next, you could go up to the 10 months if you wanted. I do that. I literally book my acupuncture. I book the massages that I need. I almost can tell you what day I most likely will need a mental health day. Like, probably 3-4 weeks in advance, because it's going to be around those crucial times of the school year, right? We cycle through report cards, we cycle through concert season, we cycle through all of these things. And so I think it's really just important to kind of be okay and just notice that, oh man, like, I'm feeling so like fatigued or whatever it is. And then just take a look at what you've been doing or what's coming up, especially because we're such forward thinkers about our planning, and be like, oh yeah, totally need it, either a day off or an afternoon or a morning or like an appointment or whatever it is. And then just know that that is completely okay. And there's other teachers doing that too, because we want to be in our best form.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, honest, I've never worked in another industry before, but I guess I'm not a parent either yet, but I would like to know that my kids' teacher is top shape and taking care of themselves. Like, who else? Like, I guess I want to know that like my cashier at my local grocery store is doing well. Like, I hope that they're taking care of themselves, or like friends. Obviously, I care all my friends are taking care of themselves. So
that is such a great perspective. Oh, it's such a good perspective to take. Like, yeah, if I was a parent, and I would want to know that my child's teacher is taking care of themselves and is at like being their best in the classroom. And I, would support whatever they need to be able to do that. I had the forethought of booking myself a massage the week after report cards. And I was so thankful to myself for having done that because I needed it. And, it's like, and then when I was there, I looked at my calendar again. And I went, okay, when am I going to need this next one? And let's book a massage ahead of time. Because when you're in the thick of it, you're too overwhelmed. But if you can book it ahead of time, then you're setting yourself up for success and you will thank yourself for it.
Totally. No, I really believe that. And again, I feel like I just have so many offshoots from our conversation.
I think we could have a whole nother episode for sure, talking all things self-care when it comes to, being teachers and how we have to care for ourselves. So,
the other thing I was going to add is when taking care of ourselves, I had a good friend of mine comment that she saw her kid's teacher actually at school pretty late, like a 6 p.m. kind of thing. And at first I'm like, girl, that's not late.
Yeah.
To be staying at school.
That's nothing.
Yeah. Second thought, I was thinking, you know what? Sometimes I actually like to stay late at school too, because I get a lot of things done or I know something's coming up. Or sometimes I'll come in the morning because I want to be prepared. Or I still sometimes will take work home because I want to feel good. And if that's going to help me be a better person, a better teacher, and yes, there's that line of making sure it's not taking over my life versus trying to squeeze everything in between the hours of the school day, which is, we all know, is pretty hard. I'll never say impossible, but pretty darn hard.
Yeah.
Just being okay, like, hey, if you stay later on a Wednesday or whatever day it is, it's okay. That's fine. If you're going to come in super early because that's where you work best and that's where you're going to prep and you're going to feel better and prepared, that's okay too. And I think there's a lot of internal talk between teachers of like, don't stay too late, or, oh man, you're here so early, or man, you're so eager, and all of these type of comments. And like, I think they all, of course, come from like a loving place. We're ultimately trying to say, take care of yourself. Like, don't overwork yourself. There's some thick lines there that if you cross, you're going to get ill. Like, it all comes from a place of love. Mm-hmm. But then I know for myself, I did a lot of self-judgment. I thought, oh my gosh, I can't be here like after 4 p.m. And then it was like, wait a minute, I'm not prepared for my whole week. Or, I should be at school like 2 hours early. Like,
yeah.
Nope, I can't do that.
Yeah. I personally am not like, I hate coming into school early. Like, I'm just not... I don't like to start early, but I really love hunkering down like one day a week to do basically my prep for the week. So I'll stay late one evening because that's when I do my best work because there's no interruptions. There's not very many people at school. So I just get it done and it feels good for me. As long as I'm not doing it every day or staying crazy late. But yeah, just noticing what works for you and honoring that. Yeah.
Totally.
So Carolina, I would love to sort of wrap this up with a couple shorter questions. So the first one is, our Educalm Teacher course is going to be coming up again in January. We had such a fun time offering it the first time around. I'd love to know for yourself, what was your biggest takeaway from this course? How did it help you?
Well, I'll say two quickly. My first one was making habits in our little community group that we had on the Zoom call. That was great because we'd actually type in what we're going to do. And for me, once I like say it or vocalize it, I have to do it. I need to follow through. So that was really great too, because I could journal habits out forever, but it was just nice to know like other people were doing it. So that was a huge takeaway, was just being able to like vocalize my habits and feel heard and then get such great ideas from other people. And then the other one was a module about the thoughts becoming our emotions. That really helped me get through my September, October, and now into November. And that was just so helpful to almost take a load off and be like, oh yeah, this is how my brain works. Okay. So now that I know this, like, how can I make it work for me and with me and the science level that you bring, Kaylee? And then that was such a great takeaway. So Highly recommended.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad those things could support you, and yeah, the community and being able to, like you said, vocalize it and share what you're going to be doing. It kind of also holds you accountable. Josiane always makes fun of me because I would always say like, okay, write it down, make it real. She always jokes about how I'm like, if we want to make something real, we can't just talk about it. We have to write it down to make it real. Otherwise it just stays this, airy idea that, oh yeah, someday, but in this course, we make it happen. We create the habits. We make it real in our lives so that we can benefit from it. We could talk about the theory all day long. I mean, I could go on and on about the theory, but it doesn't mean anything for you until you actually make it a habit and actually integrate it into your own life and practice it. So that's what we really focus on a lot in the course, is to make these habits a part of your routine and create those routines. Now, my next question is, who would you recommend this course to? Who do you think would be a good fit for Educalm Teacher?
I would recommend this course to myself 2 years ago. So anyone who is in their first few years of teaching, which is all that I could really speak to at this point in my career, 100% recommended. Why? Two main reasons. First of all, you get to meet other teachers who are well beyond their years of teaching in it and realize that you're not going crazy, first of all. And second of all, there's tons of strategies and tools that you can use to help lighten your load. And again, that for me, that was a perspective changing. My other reason that I would suggest it for that area or that time of a career would be because it's so refreshing to meet you two, first of all, and know that that there are people willing to help, and you don't have to do everything yourself, even on a personal level, right? And so as a teacher, I find when I chat with my teacher friends, oh man, the conversations we have, we just get each other no matter what, totally relatable. And that's what I really got from this group. And it was just without needing to express myself or completely say everything about my life, everyone just got each other, first of all, and you guys get it. So it's just a really nice community feel for those beginning teachers that are just maybe I can't relate to other people in my life who are non-teachers at this point, or, oh, I don't feel like I have enough experience, but I know that I'm, just head above the water kind of thing. And just get some personal advice of how to balance it all. Because yeah, professionally, you can reach out for sure, to colleagues, but on a friend level, on a personal growth level, that's why I would recommend it to couple year teachers.
Awesome. Well, Carolina, thank you so much for coming back on the show and sharing your time and your energy with us. It was a pleasure to have you again. And also, it'll be fun. Everyone that was in our first round of Educalm Teacher is welcome to join the Monday lessons and the Thursday coaching calls again. So if you want a refresher, or if you just want to be part of the awesome community of other like-minded teachers that are on the same sort of journey, then all of our first round of Educalm teachers are welcomed back. So it'll be fun to potentially have you there. Yeah, awesome.
Yes, I will be there.
Okay, thanks, Carolina. We will chat with you again soon.
Thank you, Kaylee.
Okay, seriously, guys, how awesome is Carolina? We love her. And she always has so many good ideas that we can implement in our self-care practices in our day-to-day right away. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so your exit ticket today is to go ahead and register for our free online workshop on December 13th, last chance, where we will share with you this strategy that has completely changed Kaylee and I's lives for the better. We feel like we are better versions of ourselves now. We are better educators. We are better with our families, the people around us, everything. And it's a simple strategy that can just be used in day-to-day life. So to register, you can go to www.educalm.com/free workshop. And again, I'll also put that in the show notes. Now, what are we up to this week? Well, not so long ago, maybe a week ago, we launched the Positive Self-Talk module. So that's pretty awesome in Educalm Classroom. That was one of our requests from our Educalm Classroom teachers. And hopefully by the time this episode comes out, we'll also have put up the French version. And if it's not right away, it'll be in the next couple of days. We are also wrapping things up before Christmas because Kaylee and I plan to actually take a bit of time off. We are actually going to take, I think, 2 weeks off of podcasting. So we're getting it all together to make that possible. So we're kind of thinking of what we're up to in January and preparing for that. And one of the things that we are doing in January, actually on January 10th, is that we are having a in-person workshop here in Winnipeg, where teachers will also receive a year subscription to Educalm Classroom. So it'll be kind of an intro to mindfulness, how to start a mindfulness practice in the classroom, and then how to use Educalm Classroom and how it's linked to the curriculum. So that'll be on January 10th. And if you are interested in joining, you can go to www.educalm.com/Educalm Classroom PD. And we're also going to have another one on April 25th. So kind of just getting our heads wrapped around all of that. And you can go to the same link to register for the April 25th one if that's something that you want to do. Once the new year comes along, we are also going to our local university to chat with the students in education there, which is that's been on our bucket list for a while. So we're really excited to do that. And I'll also be doing a workshop with people who work in daycares. And so we're kind of just getting all of that organized so that we're good to go when the new year comes and we're not stressed out or panicking or anything, just able to kind of start our year off with more calm and ease. So that's what we're up to. So thank you so much for sticking with us throughout this longer episode. I hope that you thought it was worth it because I sure did. So I hope you have the most amazing week and that you kind of keep that feeling of calm as you get into the Christmas season. And if, you're feeling like you're a little stressed out about, Christmas preparations and stuff, be sure to register for our upcoming online workshop because it'll help. So may you have the most wonderful week, and we will chat with you next Monday.
Hey there, Balanced Educator. We appreciate you and the work that you're doing in the world. We are here to support you, so we've created a free resource library for you to use anytime you want. Resources for mindfulness for you and your kiddos at home or in the classroom. You can get these free resources by going to www.educalm.com/The Balanced Educator. Again, that's www.educalm, that's spelled educalme.com/The Balanced Educator. Thank you for being a part of our Educalm community.